Moi drodzy, witamy Was bardzo serdecznie na 7. już forum użytkowników Storm Shield. Tak samo jak w poprzednim roku spotykamy się w autoryzowanym centrum szkoleniowym. Moi drodzy, tak samo również jak w poprzednim roku formę przyjęliśmy hybrydową, czyli mamy gości na sali, kilkadziesiąt osób oraz już wiem, że w poczekalni przed startem streama czekało już kilkaset osób, także też Was bardzo serdecznie witamy. Moi drodzy, mamy tutaj obecnych zarówno użytkowników Storm Shielda, osoby, które gdzieś się zastanawiają nad tym rozwiązaniem oraz ogólnie miłośników cyberbezpieczeństwa, którzy też chcą poszerzyć troszeczkę swoją wiedzę. Pomiędzy blokami dla uczestników online informacja. Po pierwsze macie nad swoim streamem przyciski do przełączania się pomiędzy pokojami i pomiędzy wszystkimi jakimiś prelekcjami będziecie widzieli taką planszę z odliczaniem czasu, żebyście mniej więcej wiedzieli właśnie ile macie czasu do następnej prelekcji. Możecie również się przełączać pomiędzy pokojami w dowolnym dla Was momencie. My jesteśmy przypisani tutaj stacjonarnie do naszych warsztatów. Na Waszych identyfikatorach macie tam to prawdopodobnie zaznaczone. Tak powinno to wyglądać. Moi drodzy, zaczniemy może od tego, że chciałbym, żebyście wiedzieli, z kim będziecie mieli dzisiaj do czynienia. Poproszę bardzo serdecznie inżynierów Dagmy i Storm Shielda, z którymi to będziecie mieli warsztaty dzisiejsze. I może od Alicji koło mnie. Alicja jest inżynierem systemowym w Dagmie. Alicja będzie miała dzisiaj z Wami pierwszy warsztat w tej sali. Będziemy mówili wtedy o VPN-ach, o nowych klientach VPN-owych i o jego możliwościach. W dobie od kilku lat, w zasadzie od COVID-a, zaczęliśmy bardzo wykorzystywać właśnie połączenia VPN-owe i Alicja Wam zgłębi te tajniki, bo jednak jest tego sporo. Mamy site-to-site, mamy client-to-site, można wykorzystywać różnych klientów, więc Alicja postanowi o tym troszeczkę dzisiaj powiedzieć na pierwszym warsztacie, a na drugim powie Wam o nowościach, bo czekają też nas jeszcze, w zasadzie już wiemy, przeszliśmy przez pewne premiery nowych urządzeń. Alicja troszeczkę o nich opowie, czym się różnią, co możemy nowego się z nich dowiedzieć i jak je wykorzystać. Powie m.in. właśnie o M-Series i możliwie o urządzeniach S-Series, jeśli na to starczy jeszcze czasu. Po mojej również prawej Aleksander Kostuch, inżynier pre-sales, inżynier Storm Shield. Alek pracuje bezpośrednio u producenta. Alek na pierwszym swoim warsztacie zrobi dla Was warsztat o troubleshootingu, czyli o takim podejściu do rozwiązywania jakichś problemu, powiedzmy, czyli jak konfigurować. Pokażę Wam narzędzia, które możecie wykorzystywać do konfigurowania Waszych urządzeń w sieci. A na drugim warsztacie powiem Wam o Deep Package Inspection, o głębokiej analizie pakietów przy wykorzystaniu właśnie protokołów przemysłowych, które umożliwia Storm Shield. Czyli to będzie nie tylko tematyka już wyłącznie Storm Shieldowa, ale z racji, że to mamy już inspekcję pakietów, więc trzeba się będzie zagłębić również w okoliczne tematy i to dla osób, które są pewnie głównie zainteresowane tematyką właśnie przemysłową. Po mojej lewej Piotrek Spiecha, który Państwu powie o Storm Shield Management Center, czyli narzędziu do zarządzania większą ilością Storm Shieldów. Mamy tutaj również klientów, którzy z niego korzystają. Myślę, że pewnie są zapisani na ten właśnie warsztat. Wykorzystajcie ten czas dobrze, żebyście mogli właśnie z Piotrkiem omówić wszystko to, czego potrzebujecie, czego nie wiecie. A na drugim warsztacie opowie Piotrek o Storm Shield Log Supervisor, czyli narzędziu takim typu okrojonym SIEM-ie, który Wam pomoże analizować logi i również wykonywać różne akcje i reakcje, bo to też jest również możliwe przy użyciu tego narzędzia. I jeszcze mamy Adama Ferenca, również inżyniera systemowego w Dagmie, który to myślę, że jest w naszym gronie inżynierów systemowych Dagmy najbardziej doświadczonym inżynierem. Od kilku lat przynajmniej zgłębia właśnie tematykę SD-WAN-a. Może SD-WAN-a nie tak jeszcze długo, bo SD-WAN-a nie mamy aż tak długo, ale klastrowanie, utrzymania ciągłości działania i z tą tematyką podzieli się z Wami na swoich warsztatach. I właśnie o SD-WAN-ie, o którym wspomniałem, który wszedł mniej więcej chyba w zeszłym roku, jeśli się nie mylę, Adam, to tę tematykę Wam rozwinie. Po rozpoczęciu, po prelekcji naszego pierwszego prelegenta będziecie się rozchodzić do pokojów, a osoby, które będą zapisane na warsztaty do Alicji, zostaną tutaj w sali. Na razie bardzo dziękujemy. Potem będziecie się widzieć na Waszych warsztatach. Dla osób będących stacjonarnie, z racji, że mamy tą formułę właśnie hybrydową, wiem, że to jest podstawowa rzecz, bardzo prosimy Was o punktualność, no bo jesteśmy spięci również z użytkownikami online, żeby oni, jak zjedzie im ten czas do zera, nie czekali potem 5-10 minut, bo nie będą wiedzieli, co ze sobą zrobić. Dla osób, które już dojechały zgłodniałe, o 13:30 mamy lunch i dłuższą przerwę. Oczywiście wcześniej jakieś przerwy kawowe złapiecie, lunch będziecie mieli godzinkę czasu, więc zjecie, jak będziecie mieli jeszcze jakieś służbowe sprawy do pozałatwiania, to właśnie wtedy polecam. I będziecie mieli o bodajże 15:30 po prelekcji naszego dyrektora działu technicznego, Dawida Zięciny. Może kojarzycie temat, dlaczego nie potrzebuje soka. Po tej prelekcji będziemy mieli dla Was konkurs, tutaj również w tej sali zaraz po prelekcji. Słuchajcie uważnie, no nie powiem, że akurat tej prelekcji, ale postarajcie się słuchać wszystkich wykładów uważnie, bo będą na ich podstawie potem pytania i do wygrania na przykład będzie klucz U2F, słuchawki bezprzewodowe czy dysk SSD. Moi drodzy, z nami jest również przedstawiciel producenta, Grzegorz Godlewski. Grzesiek, zaproszę Cię na chwilę na scenę. Powiedz proszę 2 słowa.
Witam Państwa bardzo serdecznie. Oczywiście wszystkich gości, którzy są z nami tutaj na miejscu oraz wszystkich online. Jest mi niezmiernie miło widzieć Was tutaj w progach Dagmy, naszego fantastycznego dystrybutora. I liczę na to, też mam nadzieję i chyba jestem pewny tego, że po dzisiejszym dniu, myślę, że bardzo intensywnym, ale niezmiernie interesującym, ci z Państwa, którzy korzystają z naszych produktów, znają je, wyjdą jeszcze z takimi nowymi pomysłami, jak ulepszyć swoją pracę, jak ulepszyć bezpieczeństwo w swojej firmie. A ci z Państwa, którzy jeszcze nie korzystają z urządzeń StormShielda, czy też nie znają jeszcze marki, zapoznają się z nią i tak naprawdę zobaczycie, że my tutaj w Europie również potrafimy w cybersecurity i naprawdę robimy to dobrze. Chyba tyle.
Ja jeszcze będę miał okazję się nagadać w trakcie prelekcji. Witamy wszystkich i zapraszamy również do rozmów kuluarowych, gdzie będziemy mogli na spokojnie porozmawiać sobie o produktach. Również jest uruchomione forum. Na forum można zadawać pytania na bieżąco. Siedzi tam inżynier. Akurat my na poszczególnych prelekcjach nie będziemy widzieli tych pytań, ale inżynier będzie starał się odpowiadać z różnych dziedzin, które są prowadzone, na bieżąco odpowiedzi.
Zostawcie. I moi drodzy, tak, jeszcze w roli ścisłości, pierwszą część właśnie szkoleniową mamy tutaj w budynku autoryzowanego Centrum Szkoleniowego ACS, której dyrektorem jest Justyna Puchała, która też chciałaby Was serdecznie przywitać i powiedzieć 2 słowa, a później jeszcze opowiem Wam 2 słowa, co będzie nas czekało później. Cześć Justyna.
Cześć, dzięki Paweł za przedstawienie, wprowadzenie. Tak, witam Państwa wszystkich serdecznie. Justyna Puchała. Witam w imieniu autoryzowanego Centrum Szkoleniowego Dagma, które po raz kolejny ma tutaj przyjemność gościć Państwa uczestników Forum Użytkowników StormShield. Bo Dagma to nie tylko też StormShield, to oczywiście ogólnopolski dystrybutor systemów bezpieczeństwa IT, ale Dagma to również szkolenia. Od prawie 15 lat szkolimy, dzielimy się wiedzą, certyfikujemy specjalistów IT. Prowadzimy te szkolenia w całej Polsce, prowadzimy szkolenia stacjonarne, można nas znaleźć w 9 miastach w Polsce. Prowadzimy szkolenia online, prowadzimy szkolenia e-learningowe. Jesteśmy autoryzowanym partnerem Microsoft, akredytowanym centrum EC Council, jedynym w Polsce autoryzowanym ośrodkiem szkoleń StormShield, ESET, Safetyka. W swojej ofercie aktywnych mamy ponad 400 tematów szkoleniowych i ze swojej strony w dniu dzisiejszym tych z Państwa, którzy jesteście tutaj na miejscu, serdecznie zapraszam do naszego stoiska. Wiem, że część z osób już była, widzę po gadżetach. Tam podczas całego wydarzenia będą dyżurowali nasi specjaliści, nasi doradcy. Także ci z Państwa, którzy mają potrzeby szkoleniowe, gdzie chcielibyście czegoś więcej się dowiedzieć na ten temat, serdecznie zapraszam. Dodatkowo są też dostępne ankiety, Te ankiety przez cały dzień dzisiejszy będzie można wypełnić i w zamian za taką ankietę wylosować ciekawe gadżety, które przygotował nasz dział marketingu. Tych z Państwa, którzy nie są stacjonarnie, są online, a chcieliby również dopytać, czy są zainteresowani szkoleniami, zachęcam do zadawania pytań czy kontaktu z nami przez adres mailowy. Krótko jeszcze, jeśli chodzi o Storm Shielda, bo to dzisiejszy nasz temat przewodni dzisiejszego spotkania. Tak jak wspomniałam, jesteśmy jedynym w Polsce autoryzowanym centrum szkoleniowym Storm Shield. Co to oznacza? Oznacza, że prowadzimy te szkolenia zgodnie z wytycznymi producenta. Ta certyfikacja jest tutaj międzynarodowa. Prowadzimy je na 3 poziomach zaawansowania, czyli zaczynamy od administratora, później ekspert i ewentualnie poziom troubleshooting. Wszystkie 3 poziomy można zrealizować w naszym centrum. Wszystkie certyfikacje i egzaminy również można zrealizować za pośrednictwem naszego centrum. Z mojej strony to w zasadzie chyba tyle. Serdecznie zapraszam. Życzę udanego, miłego dzisiejszego dnia.
Dzięki, Justyna. Powiem jeszcze może coś takiego, co pewnie się często słyszy na prelekcjach, czyli cieszę się, że Was wszystkich widzę, a cieszę się również z tego powodu właśnie, bo w zeszłym roku również miałem okazję uczestniczyć w forum użytkowników Storm Shield, ale w zupełnie innej roli. Tym razem w roli prowadzącego i mam nadzieję, że w razie czego będziecie już wiedzieli, z kim się kontaktować. Gdybyście czegoś nie wiedzieli, czegoś szukali, śmiało się pytajcie. Online piszcie na czacie, trafią do mnie w razie czego wszystkie Wasze pytania. I po części szkoleniowej no, użytkownikom online, osobom, które są online, wtedy podziękujemy za udział. Natomiast Was wszystkich stacjonarnie zaprosimy na przejazd do Zabrza. Część z Was pewnie deklarowała, że będzie chciała jechać autokarem, część samochodami przejedzie i tam przeniesiemy się już do kopalni, jak pewnie już słyszeliście. Zanim przejdziemy w zasadzie do warsztatów już konkretnie, to mamy tutaj przedstawiciela, jak wspomniałem, producenta również z Francji. Przyjechał do nas bezpośrednio Sebastian Viau, który to opowie nam właśnie o tym, jak wygląda troszeczkę jego praca. Nadzoruje 17 zespołami, między innymi pentesterów we Francji. I Sebastian, stage is yours. Nice to meet you. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Dzień dobry, Poland. I'm very pleased to be here with you. Sorry, it will be in English. I don't speak Polish yet. We are going to speak about news, lots of news, roadmap. Okay, agenda, perfect. Some cybersecurity news, some product news and roadmap. You will see some also what we want to do in the future. We will speak and you will have a demonstration of our new XDR solution. And at the end, we'll speak of Storm Shield of tomorrow. It's what we are going to do in the future. It's a technological vision. If you have any question, you don't hesitate. I know I'm not sure for people online if it's possible, but I will try to respond at the question you have, and I will be there for the whole day and tonight, so I will be also available for you if you have any questions. Okay? So, cybersecurity news. Maybe you've heard this morning about a China cyber attack on US government and all Occidental countries. No, you haven't heard of it? You should check. It's a big cyber attack that has been here for 2 years, I think. They just discovered it. Microsoft discovered it. So very interesting. We are working on it. My CTI team is working on it to see if we are able to protect or if we have already protecting our customer from it. Some figure from the last 4 months. We have discovered 15,000 IOCs in the last 4 months that have been spreaded into our products. We have created 88 protection dedicated to CVEs or some specific exploits, also available in our product. We have included more than 2025 malicious IPs in our IP reputation database. Of course, you know that the lifetime of an IP, a malicious IP, is about 3 weeks. So a lot of them have been inactivated, of course. Otherwise, at the end, we'll start to block all the internet. And we have analyzed the 29 malware to ensure our product efficiency. Compared to last year, it's a lot more. 7 times more for IOCs, 4 times more for the protection created. This is to show you that we are increasing our cybersecurity forces. My team is growing, and we try to be as good as we can on that to protect more efficiency our customer. Because at the beginning, we are a cybersecurity solution, so the point, the first thing we have to do is to protect our customer. You can check. We have been analyzing a cyber attack group, which is called the Red Line, for 3 weeks. It was 2 months ago, and we have released an article that you can check on this URL. You can also just go on our website; it's available. We have discovered this group from Twitter, just a little Twitter tweet from a cybersecurity researcher who saw something strange on a Bitbucket. And we dig, and we find the C2C. We have been able to connect to the C2C to retrieve all the malware that were used by the cyber attack group, to analyze them. We have analyzed about 30 droppers, etc. We saw the evolution of the dropper during time. We discovered also the hacker profile, his name, his account, so we know who he is or who they are. And we used it to improve our protection. Also, we gave all that information to the French police, of course, but we used all that information to improve our protection. No question? Just read the article, please. It's very interesting. Very technical too, but very interesting. The web service also, this is a feature that is available since version 4.4. It is used for SD-WAN. We have now more than 150 web services available. So web services are SaaS applications that are recognized by the SNS and that you can use to create special policies, special filters, accept or deny. We have added recently TikTok, DeepL, ChatGPT. DeepL, you can see it at the end of the screenshot. And if you want new web service to be added, you can send a request through the My Storm Shield portal. And we will try to add it as quick as possible. It's generally between 1 and 2 weeks. And it will be available for all our customers. So we don't hesitate to send requests. We have a special team that will handle them. And it will increase our available web service, and you will be able to use it on your administration. OK? So product news and roadmap. We will start with hardware, Storm Shield Network Security Hardware, SNS. First, the S series that will be available very soon, in 1 week, 1st of June, yes, it's in 1 week. We have one hardware that is available with 2 performance packs, the SNS 2020 and 3020, 2.5 gigabit interface, 1 gigabit fiber interface, local storage, redundant power supply, even on the small model, so very interesting. High availability. You just have a license to upgrade from the 2020 to the 3020, so it's easy upgradable if you want to, if there's a performance need, for example. So 4 gigabytes of firewall performance to 8 gigabyte firewall performance. And also, you can see IPS performance in this slide. On the middle size SNS, you have the M series with the 5020, 8 to 16 interface, 2 to 10 gigabytes fiber interface, and there's a module also available with 10 gigabytes fiber interface. It's a 10 gigabyte firewall performance hardware. Also with local storage, redundant power supply, and we have TPM in all our products now for the secure storage of certificate. And you already know those ones because they are available since 6 months, 1 year, I guess. 720 and 920, also upgradable with a license, also with redundant power supply, modules, fiber modules, 10 gigabyte modules, etc., etc. Up to 36 gigabyte firewall performance with this one. It starts to which is this one? It's a 720, okay. So you have one if you want to check. And more important, the next model that we will release, we are working on the high-end range renewal, so with big performance firewall, 2,200, 3,200, and 6,200, up to 300 gigabytes with 25 and 100 gigabytes connectivity. So it's for data center mainly and big performance needs. We hope to release it by the end of the year or the start of 2024. We are also working on a hardware acceleration card that will be used for IPsec or SSL, and we are hoping to release it by the middle of next year. This will be used for big encrypted link. And of course, a new industrial hardware, maybe microform factor or more powerful hardware with more connectivity. You will have also special, I will talk about it later, but we will handle the 4 port bypass on standard non-industrial firewall like the 720. That's it for the hardware. No question about it? Don't hesitate again. About the software, Storm Shield network security software. So the next version to come is the 4.7. It will be released in one month with new SSO terminal server agent, which we will be able to identify user connected to a Microsoft Remote Desktop or Citrix server. So there's an agent that has to be deployed on the server, as the RDS server or Citrix server. All firewall certificates are more secure in the TPM. Of course, we are going to use our TPM now. The remote access performance are increased, the SSL performance. It was an important step. And we have the ASHA for EVA in public IaaS environment also. And external link to IOC details. When you have IOC that will be blocked, you will be able to click on the log and to see all detail about this IOC. So if there's an IP that has been blocked and you don't know why, you will finally know if it's a C2C, if it's related to a malware or something. Okay, that's for the 4.7. By the end of the year or Q4, stronger IPsec authentication with EAP and MFA in IPsec EKE v2, very important. Dynamic multicast routing also, there's some requests about that. Multi-DH in IPsec profile, TLS 1.0 and 1.1 bypass for old application, SNMP improvement, and DDoS improvement also. This will be the 4.8. And the 4.9, supposedly by the beginning of next year, very important one because we will support the new hardware, of course. We support the 8 gigabyte interface and 4 gigabyte bypass. That's what I was saying for standard hardware. Seamless firewall rules reload. That's also a need because sometimes you have performance issue when you reload your rules, and we want to get rid of that. And the big one is the ZTNA step 1. So finally, host checker, host domain, antivirus, OS update and version that will be checked, and that will make you able to verify an endpoint before connecting it to your network or to access a resource. So it's kind of our first ZTNA step. And the V5 that we hope to release next year. This version is mainly an upgrade from FreeBSD to the new version. It's a big work for us because FreeBSD is complicated. There's a lot of external contribution that we need to upgrade, like OpenSSL, Bird, and that has a big impact on our firmware. What we will see from your perspective is better performance, especially for high-range hardware. And also we will have the warning before update that can be used. That can be useful for the administrator. A bit further in the future, we are working on a web proxy as SaaS, and not included in the hardware. That is important for us because it's part of our vision to be able to protect anywhere. We know that proxy on-site is not the best today, and it has also a lot of performance issue for the firewall. So the best is to offload that in the cloud. Of course, it will be a European cloud. Stronger, easier third-party user authentication. The point here is SAML v2, of course. REST API that will be available to manage the firewall. Today you have Python API. It's not the best, so we know that we need to provide a REST API. Secure MQTT industrial protocol. This is really oriented for industrial security. And MRP correspondent is also oriented for industrial, because MRP is an industrial protocol that is used on hospital mainly. So it will be available soon also. That's it for the SNS roadmap. Everything is clear for you? I will talk a bit about Storm Shield endpoint security, which is our endpoint EDR EPP solution. It is mainly, at the beginning, it's a big EPP solution that is here to protect the strange behavior or malicious behavior on the endpoint, Microsoft endpoint. And we are introducing a lot of EDR functionality. I will try to detail them to you. So we have an hardened core at the center of the product. It's very secure. It's a product that is self-secure, so it can't hopefully be used to hack the endpoint. That was a problem for some of cybersecurity solutions. I can let you see in the news, like what happened to Mitsubishi, for example. So hardened core with dynamic protection, ransomware protection, behavior analysis, and environmental control. This is not an antivirus. It's not based on signature. It's based on behavior. There's a specific security policy inside the product that you can manage also. And it's really an EPP, very strong EPP solution. We added threat hunting, so you are able to follow the attack on the endpoint, incident management, and also response. This is a part of our XDR strategy to be able to respond on the network and on the endpoint. So with SNS and the SES, and you will see with SLS, we have a complete XDR solution, but that's for later. SES is also included now in SLS. You have all the log of SES into SLS, and you can manage both SNS and SES into SLS. So what what is available in the next version, the 2.4, that is available in 1 week. We are able to propose you a SaaS mode, so you can use SES without deploying the infrastructure. It's already deployed in our infrastructure. It's Europeanly hosted in France. And you can manage your entire fleet through our SaaS infrastructure. We have a multi-workstation remediation, so you're able to delete a registry key, to delete a file, to kill a process, to launch a PowerShell script on one or many workstations. So this is a full response solution that you have with SES. You can also do a big IOC search on all your endpoints. If you have doubt after a cyber attack, you can search for IPs, for hashes, for anything on the endpoint to see if they have been compromised. And if they have been compromised, you are able to remediate with the multi-workstation remediation capabilities. And of course, as I was saying, log integration in SLS. Okay, and in the 2.5, we will improve response capabilities a bit more with automatic malware quarantine and also with workstation network isolation. So again, more response capabilities that you will be able to manage through API, because we will release a public REST API on SES. So you will be able to remediate from a SOAR or an XDR solution, even if it's not our XDR solution. It will work with any partner or any XDR that manage REST API. Okay? We will improve protection again, IMSC protection mechanism, which is used to hack a lot of endpoints, and the Brute-Rattle framework exploit protection also. You know, Brute-Rattle is a framework. It's a private framework that is available, released. You can buy it, and it's used by a lot of hackers and cyber gang to exploit endpoints. Also, email alerting. No need to be connected to the main management to be alerted when you have an attack. This version is available as beta if you want, and also all SES solution is available if you want to test it. We can provide you with our SaaS solution with a small SaaS environment, some license to test it on 10 or 50 endpoint. So don't hesitate to ask Dagmar for that. Data security. This is our encryption solution. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. What we are able to do with that, it's called SDS Enterprise. We can encrypt mail and file. So mail encryption, it's an Outlook add-in that will encrypt email and attachment on disk. You can check for sender integrity, of course, with authentication and sender authenticity. And on the file encryption, this is not a disk encryption. This is very different. You can encrypt folder or files on your disk or on a cloud environment like Drive or Dropbox. It's compatible with a SaaS environment. You can encrypt it with a PIN code or certificate, and you can send this PIN code or certificate to an external correspondent for decryption. You have also group management. This is a solution that we have since 10 years, I guess, so very strong and very efficient. What we are doing and releasing now is StormShield Data Security for Google Workspace. This is encryption for SaaS solution, especially for the Google Workspace SaaS environment. We are able to encrypt Gmail, Meet, Chat, Calendar, Drive, Docs, Sheets, Slides, Forms, Sites. It's included in the Google framework. We use CSE, which is a specific client-side encryption mechanism provided by Google. and we securize the client-side encryption with our key, and we manage the key. So every data that you will be putting in Google environment will be encrypted with our key, so Google won't have access to the data. This is a security mechanism to be sure that Google can't access your data. And it's available right now. We are selling it all over the world. We are official Google partners. We are in the list of Google CSE partners. You can check on the Google website. Again, if you want to test it, it's very easy. We can release a test license, and you can use it in your Google Workspace environment. It takes half an hour to deploy. It's very quick. And for the user, it's also very easy. You just have to click encrypt, and then you're creating a sheet, an encrypted sheet, or an encrypted doc, or an encrypted mail. It's all included in the Google UX. So very easy to use, very user-friendly. It looks like I'm on time. I'm on schedule. I have 40 minutes left to make the XDR demonstration and to talk about the future. No question about the roadmap? Everything was clear for you? Okay. So XDR. What is XDR? It's a solution that can detect a cyber attack and that lets you respond to this cyber attack, and that is based on many detection points. We have EDR for endpoint detection, we have NDR for network detection, we have MDR for mobile detection, and FDR for file detection. With Storm Shield, we are able to make EDR with our SOS Evolution. We are able to make FDR with our Breach Fighter sandbox solution. And we are also able to make NDR with our firewall solution. So we have 3 of the package. So we are able to make an XDR solution. What we need also is a point to manage all the response, because in the R we have to respond. And this will be provided by our SLS product. You will see in the roadmap, SLS will be a SOAR by the end of the year, so the response will be even easier. The point of XDR is to react quickly to face complex cyber attack. At Storm Shield, we are trying to protect from cyber attack. So we are developing protection, we are developing IP reputation. We are trying to block, even with the SCS solution, we are blocking strange behavior rather than detecting and sending an alert. Because when you detect and send an alert, the attack is still going through, and it's too late. So we try to protect. For 80% of the cyber attack, we want to protect. But we know it's not possible for 100% of cyber attacks. So we have to take care of the 20 or 10% that is still represent a risk. And that's why we want to provide with XDR. So 80% is handled by our protection, and 10 to 20 will be handled by the XDR solution. This is a fully integrated XDR solution managed by Storm Shield, developed by Storm Shield. So we are able to detect with endpoint, network, and cyber threat intelligence, including Breach Fighter. We are able to orchestrate with the XDR solution, log storage, alert, detect, correlate, and respond. Process, playbook, you know, the playbook to respond. And the response will be on the asset with SCS, on the network with SNS, and will make you able to isolate assets even through SNS or SCS. It depends on what you want to do. You can isolate the asset with both solutions. I will show you a little demonstration of this XDR platform. The scenario is based on a company that is called Incredible Data. that share data, that allow you to, it's kind of a BI SaaS solution. Of course, it's a virtual solution, it's not a real company, of course. And there's a front end here that will be the base of the attack. The architecture is this one. There's the attacker with social network information, always useful when you try to attack a company. We have firewall, NDR, with SNS. We have the front server. We have another firewall. We have the Exchange and Active Directory, the LAN, database, and endpoint. The endpoint is equipped with SCS Evolution. And we have our XDR management aside. It's really a demo architecture, okay? Some things are simplified. The scenario is this one. First, we will discover and collect data. The attacker will discover and collect data of the target through social media. He will do a vulnerability scan, of course, trying to find a way to exploit vulnerability. The exploitation will be Log4Shell. I'm sure you've heard about it. It was 1 year ago, 1 year and a half. He will download all the toolkit that he needs once he has done the exploit. He will, of course, do the lateralization, internal scan. He will exploit a Microsoft Proxy Logon vulnerability. A very good one, this one. He will erase all the log of his attack. He will exfiltrate data, confidential data. And then he will deploy and detonate the ransomware. Okay? This is, in the demonstration, it's a real ransomware. It's a Ragnar Locker, which is a real one. Let's start with the demo, please. Thank you. So, this is our portal. The attacker is seeing that it's a Java portal. So he's going to do the Nikto scan. I think you know about Nikto. It's a tool that is used to scan. He's going to attack the portal with Log4Shell. So he has the public IP here, targeting the port, and he's doing the injection. Okay, username. This is the Log4Shell injection exploit. Password can be anything. Is it working? Of course it's working. Otherwise it's not funny. And because it's working, you can see already an alert with an XDR alarm and compromised web server. Of course, we could have protected from this attack, but for the demonstration, we are using only the detection capabilities. You see in your XDR platform, in your mail, that you have an alarm. You can connect to the platform, and you will see here the incident. So this is SLS, with all XDR overview, XDR threats, data, web, etc., etc. And you have here the alert with Log4j RCE attempt. Now you can check the incident. It's playing. Yes. You see where it comes from. You have all the info about the attack. You can see the detail of the incident here. You have incident data that is available. So we have the threat score that is increasing when we see IPS alert or stuff like that. You have vulnerability scanner, Nikto, that is detected. A directory traversal also. And all of these alarms are making the XDR solution to tell you, to say, this is dangerous, do something. Here we have the Log4j alert. So in the demonstration, the attacker is now master of the front server. He's going to download his toolkit. Here it's Ragnar Locker. Okay, Ragnar Locker is now on the web server. Of course, with the SNS, if you have Breachfighter, you will see the file and you will block it. Now you will scan the internal Windows server. Internally is doing an Nmap, and you can see there's an LDAP SSL, so we know it's an Active Directory, and SMTPS also. We know it's an Exchange and Active Directory server. He will take control of the server with proxy logon. So he's launching this MSF console. We suppose that he has downloaded the MSF toolkit on the server, of course. He's launching MSF, Metasploit, searching proxy logon vulnerability exploit. Very easy to do. You use the first one, Exchange proxy logon RCE. You're setting the remote host. So it's the Exchange server, the local host, it's the front server. The email for the proxy logon RCE to be exploited, you need an actual email on the Exchange server. That's where we use the social network or information about the company. So we have found that Roger Le Test, in French it's Roger the Test, incredible data.local, and we run the exploit. Okay. Where is the... Okay, now he has the PowerShell access and he is able to transfer Ragnar Locker to the server. He's going to remove all log from the server. Clear application, up, exit. And now he has the link to the server. He's going to check for confidential data in the administrator folder, and he's going to steal some documents, architecture documents, or it's confidential. Download confidential information. Very easy. Up, another alarm. Access to forbidden files. So the XDR has detected, of course, he has also detected the proxy logon, but here we are showing you the access to forbidden file. Again, the data of the incident. So we see that there's a PowerShell process, and there's a PowerShell that have read confidential data. So it's pretty easy to make an alert on confidential data reading. So you have to configure it, of course. But you can say it's a kind of it's a folder on each of your computer. When you see something not authorized that access this folder, you can trigger an alert. And also you have also all the history, the compromission vector, because we know that before we have seen an alarm on Nmap, on Log4j, and on proxy logon, of course. So the score is 100. We are sure it's an attack. And now we are going to launch, yes, it's playing. We are going to launch the malware. Very easy. How just do ragnarlocker.exe, launch it, and the malware will do the rest. The file is encrypted. Okay, ransomware attack detected. The process Ragnar Locker executed malicious code. Now we will respond to that and block everything. We are activating IPS instead of IDS. This is an easy way to respond, but you have to do it. Of course, we want to be an IPS at the first place. This is for the demo. And if you have signatures that are only IDS mode because they can trigger false positive or they are not as efficient as it seemed, you can use it in the XDR to increase the score, you know. We are creating a rule to block the attacker because we have the IP. So very easy, we add the IP of the attacker. For now, you can see that it's a manual response because it's our first version of XDR. In the next version, with the SOAR, it will be automated by SLS. It will not be a full automation. We don't recommend a full automation. We want to have a validation of the administrator before doing something, not to block the production. So blocking rule. We are also isolating the web server. Very easy, just doing block. On the SES side, we will restore some of the encrypted file because you know that when a ransomware is launched, we are working with behavior and sometimes it has the time to encrypt 5 to 10 files, but we can restore it with a shadow copy. And sometimes we block the ransomware when it tries to destroy shadow copy right before it can encrypt. So it's a two-way of detect ransomware. So we are responding by restoring encrypted file and also, of course, by isolating the computer. First, we should do the other way. We should isolate before and then restore, but in the demo it's mixed up. We launched the remediation, so you can see remediation has been done. And we also put the hash of the ransomware as a dangerous file that will be blocked on every computer. So the hash is used as an IOC. Now you can see IOC analysis. We add the hash. We launch a scan on every computer to see if it's somewhere else and ready to be launched by the hacker. And we scan all the fleet of agents. And that's it. We have protected our company with our XDR solution. You can go back to the slide, please. No question about the demo? Of course, it's a demonstration, so yeah. So it's a bit simplified again, but it works. It's not that complicated to configure, actually. It's very easy. What we want as a benefit is an efficient security. Everything is managed by StormShield. We are doing the security on SNS, we are doing the security on SES, and also we are doing the scenario detection on SLS. So you're sure that it will be an XDR that will be working and based on advanced behavior security with SNS, SES, and BreachFighter. It's an unified solution. It's only StormShield compatible because SLS will handle only StormShield logs. If you want, you can take Logpoint solution, which is an OEM of SLS is an OEM of Logpoint, and Logpoint is open to external product. So it will be the same. We will work in the future to add external product in SLS too. And is integration, of course, with API. You can use SNS and SES with another SOAR, if you want, with our API. Very important. We know that some customers are already equipped with SOAR or XDR solution. We want to be compliant with them. We want to be used in other XDR or SOAR solution. Okay, we want to be integrated in the ecosystem. But you can buy a StormShield XDR package solution with SLS, SES, SNS, and BreachFighter. Okay? So the roadmap for the XDR, by July 2020, it will be available. This is, let's say, a pre-sale. This is a beta version. You will get notified with from endpoint network file analysis event because we will support log of SES. We will have predefined incident detection rules that are created by our CTI team. And you will be able to respond with the management of each product, SMC, SNS, or SES. By the end of 2023, we will provide automated response with SOAR capabilities, with SLS, with API on SMC and SNS, and with API on SES. We will provide you with a predefined playbook also. We will, in 2024, extend XDR for third-party product. We will open SLS to other product. We'll make it available as a SaaS solution, SaaS XDR. And we are working on a smartphone application to respond easily. You know, if it's during night or during the weekend, you will have a smartphone app that will ask you if you want to respond or not, and that will work with API with the SOAR. Under consideration, we are working on the pay-as-you-go XDR. It clearly will depend on what you want, what you need. We are open to any suggestion and to work with you on beta product if you want. Okay? No question on XDR? No? We'll talk about it later, I guess. Now, I want to speak about Storm Shield of tomorrow. You know, we are a small company compared to other big international cybersecurity companies. We are 400 people, mostly in France. We are helped by partners, some of you, Dagma, of course, which is a great partner for us. We have to have a vision of the future to help guide us to create our roadmap and to make evolution on our products. So this is our vision for the next 10 years, where we want to go, what do we think is needed by our customer. And now I will take 10 to 15 minutes to speak about the future. Bring up the volume. Okay. So Storm Shield mesh protection, it's our ambition for the future. What does it mean? It means that we want to increase cybersecurity and to make it more understandable for the business also. You know that we have a lake of cybersecurity experts in Europe, in US, in the world actually. So it's our job, cybersecurity editor, to make it more understandable for management and business people. So we have to stay focused on cybersecurity to provide cybersecurity expertise for experts that will be able to pre-configure our product, but also to make it understandable for business so they can manage a bit of the cybersecurity to release the pressure on the cybersecurity expert. This is one part of what we are trying to achieve and what we will be trying to achieve. Another main goal of this vision is to spread cybersecurity on every asset. We want an homogeneous cybersecurity and not strong cybersecurity on one side and weak cybersecurity on the other side. If there's an asset that has a weakness, this is where the attacker is going to attack and where the company is going to be breached. So we have to think of cybersecurity as a whole for every asset of the company and take it into account every system, every IoT device, every computer, every server, every application. That's also what we will try to achieve and what we are working today also. Adding Linux for the SES evolution solution is clearly one step to this direction. So, bridging the gap between business and cyber, this is what I was saying. Giving one management interface for business, one management interface for experts. So experts will configure IPS walls, I don't know, VPN connection. They will do the hard work, and the management will say, this asset is critical. I want a big protection. This asset is not critical. I don't care. You know, very business way of thinking. This is the first part. Second one, business-oriented UX. We want to understand what's going on. When you have some log, even with SLS today or with SMC today, you don't clearly understand what is happening. Okay, we know that. So we want to know, okay, what's happening is dangerous or is not dangerous? What should I do? This is a business-oriented UX. This is where we want to go. And this is why we are increasing our UX team today. Of course, ecosystem integration. I was talking about having an homogeneous cybersecurity. We have to speak with other cybersecurity products, with our cybersecurity management product also. That's why we are developing a lot of API today. API for SES, API for SNS, API for SLS, smartphone app, working with API also. We want to be fully integrated in the ecosystem, and that's happening. That will start to happen by the end of the year, but we will work on it more and more. Also trying to make partnership with, we already have partnership with Nozomi, with IBM, with Sequoia. We will have more and more partnership. This is Storm Shield mesh protection. So protecting assets, every asset, including cloud assets, managed by business team and by cybersecurity experts. This is our vision, this is our goal. Some technical principle, we will use security, of course, by design and by default with Rust. I don't know if you know the Rust development language. This is kind of a C, very secure. Multi-platform, we want to be able to protect IoT, to protect endpoints, to protect mobile. With overlay security, resilient, autonomous, high availability, always on, and decentralized, thanks to Web3 technologies. Again, no perimeter. Cybersecurity is not a perimeter. Cybersecurity should be everywhere. And we will try to achieve that with your help by the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. And that's it. Thank you very much for your attention. I have time for questions.
We have one question, Sebastian, from online.
Yes?
I will read it, and then you can, will
Okay,
give you this into...
perfect.
Okay, so one question is, what about QoS and traffic shaping in new firewall releases? Is it planned to deliver something better than CBQ or PRIO, queuing disciplines to address buffer bloat problem? So it's pretty technical.
Yeah. We are going to improve QoS, but to have a right answer about this one, I don't want to answer it online. I will have to check with my team. So I can take the name and mail, yes, and make a special answer for you. And thank you for the question. But yes, we have improvement that is going on, but I'm not sure about your question.
Okay.
So can you take the mail and we will respond?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Another questions? No?
In the evening.
Yeah, in the evening. Okay. Will be a pleasure to talk with you about our future and our new functionalities. So don't hesitate. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you, Sebastian, for our roadmap. Moi drodzy, mamy teraz w takim razie 10 minut dla użytkowników online. Również teraz my się przemieścimy po wszystkich salach. Każdy pójdzie do swojej sali i równo o 10 startujemy z resztą prelekcji. Do zobaczenia.